has been in their lives. I know that mine has kind of, ebbed and flowed. But certainly I've never experienced 10 days of not speaking, 10 days of not being spoken to, except for instruction, total lack of distraction. And I think it's a challenge. So I would encourage all of us to kind of take a challenge of recognizing distraction in our lives. It doesn't have to be a 10-day meditation retreat, but it might be you have 5 minutes and you automatically pick up your phone in order to distract you until the next thing. So to try to be mindful of the pauses, the times when perhaps you might choose a distraction technique of some kind, and instead you could come into yourself and just be in the presence of whatever it is you're experiencing. And when I do this, I recognize that I bump up against discomfort. And I think a lot of our distraction techniques that we have are there because we don't want to be uncomfortable. It helps us to not be uncomfortable. And so learning how to kind of widen that uncomfortable gap and sit in the presence of yourself without pulling away from whatever it is you're experiencing in your mind or in your body or in your heart can be a really deep, deep practice. So let's begin, and see if we can, in our yoga practice today, start to train that a little bit, where we just pay attention whether we're doing something challenging or doing something gentle or doing something that brings us closer to our breath, whatever it is, notice for yourself if there are times when your mind gets strayed off to something else, and just gently, gently, just bring yourself back and back and back and just keep coming back. Right? So let's close our eyes and take a moment to drop into your posture. And maybe in the beginning of practice, you're like, when is she going to be done with this sitting thing so I can start moving? Maybe you really enjoy having a moment of stillness. So just take a moment here and just recognize what's happening for you. So as you come into your breath, the breath is always a tool to help you settle into the present moment. And if you need anchoring for your mind, your breath is a great way to anchor the mind into a practice of presence. You can choose so many different techniques to anchor the mind. It could be a mantra. The word mantra means mind tool. So you could choose a mantra to repeat in your mind on your breath. You could choose a sensation in the body that you're paying attention to and really sitting with and noticing. You could choose an emotion that's happening in your body that you could listen to and sit with. So just choose something now that works for you so that you can just be. Whatever your choice is, notice the anchoring there, but also notice what wants to fly away. What part of your mind likes to trail off, and just gently, gently, kindly, graciously welcome that part of you back into present moment. Over and over, just back into present moment. And you noticing, is there anything uncomfortable about being here, either in your mind or body. And instead of pulling away and moving or doing something different, just see what it might feel like to stay put, to surrender into whatever's uncomfortable, and just be here now. Yes. As you deepen your breath, this is, a very small little amount of time of sitting, but just notice what has happened in your mind and your body. Bring yourself fully into a deep inhale and a deep exhale, and notice the refreshment of the breath. And allow your shoulders to release, soften through your skull. And notice that I've given you little jobs to do in your mind and in your body, and notice how even that can be a distraction away from stillness of mind. It's not a bad thing, but just notice when you're given a job to take a deep breath, there's something to do. And how much our minds love to have a job. Bring your hands together and let's offer an intention, whatever it is that you're needing in your practice today. Release the hands. And let's find our way onto our back. So as we stretch out and lengthen into our practice, notice how nice it is to lie down, having a change of position in your body. And when you get down there, just allow yourself to completely and utterly melt into the ground. A little mini Shavasana to bookend the larger Shavasana we'll do at the end. Just sense into what that's like to have a beautiful release into the ground. All right, and then when you're ready, stretch your arms overhead and feel into that reach of the body. A little bit of extension in one side or the other. You kind of come home into the sides of your body, and as you notice sensation, the sensation itself can be an anchor for the mind to stay present. Draw your knees into your chest and let's rock. It's one of the main things that happens to us, the kleshas, those things that cause our suffering, is we want to avoid things that are uncomfortable and we want to move toward things that are comfortable. And this is not, it's just our nature. There's no morality to it. It just is. So just pay attention when you want to move away from uncomfortableness, however that shows up for you. Let's hang out on our knees and circle a few times here. Hang out and circle the other direction a couple of times. And then open up the knees away from the middle and bring them back in. So just have this nice feeling of waking up and finding range of motion in your hip joints. Right knee in, left leg long on the ground, and let's find that same range in our ankle joints. So rolling around in your ankles, wiggling your toes, saying hello to your feet. Especially if you've had big, heavy winter boots on the last couple days, maybe this feels really good to be barefoot. Let your head get heavy. Switching sides, left knee into your chest, right leg long on the ground, and feel a little bit of mobility in your ankles again. Don't forget to have a good squeeze of the hip and knee and a good release of your skull onto the ground. Okay. Right, and then open your body out to a star, reaching your limbs wide. And exhale and draw your knees into your chest. A nice hug. Twice more. Opening up your body, wide limbs here. Exhale, drawing your knees into your chest. Again, just notice all the spaciousness and notice all the compression. All right, put your head back down, put your feet back down. Let's grab a strap. We're going to start our practice with Supta Padangusthasana today. All right, so left foot on the ground, right foot in the strap, and lift that leg up in the air. Okay? And maybe a little bit of half happy baby pose and then pressing up. So we just have a little bit of mobility in our hip and then reaching our leg up. All right, and then once you're up there, let's do a little bit of movement in our ankle. So point your toes, hook that strap on your heel, point your toes, flex your toes, point your toes and flex. And you can have a point in there too if you'd like. And just waking up the calves, getting some mobility in there. Okay. All right, and then you can keep your left foot right where it's at, or maybe you'd like to straighten it out. Just see what feels good. Root your femur bone down, lift that leg up, and we're going to open the leg out to the side and then bring it back up. So just starting with a little bit of mobility, right leg out to the right and lifting it straight back up. And now add a little bit more to this. Instead of just straight back up, cross it over. So we're just kind of getting into some deep mobility in our hip here. And now this next time we'll stay. So open the leg out to the side, ground through the left side of your body. Feel that awakening in the inner groin, the inner hamstrings of your right leg. Breathing deeply. And then lift that leg straight back up and let's cross the leg over to the side. And same, a little bit of pulsing and movement first, holding the strap in the left hand, maybe drop the left foot down and then lift it back up and let your hip kind of rock into that motion. And then we'll stay. So root into this fullness, hip away from your shoulder, stretch out through your foot, let your head relax. And then release back to neutral. Grab onto your foot, a half happy baby pose, a deep flexion in that hip, and then cross your right foot over to your left knee and either have a moment of a reverse pigeon or cross your thigh over your thigh and bring your knees into your chest. And again, try for a little bit of mobility. I'm holding my hand in my knee and just doing some circling in my hip joint. Maybe you prefer stillness. Generally, I think it's a good idea to have a little bit of mobility as you warm up. It's good for your joints. It's good for all of your fascia. All right, stretch out to a star and then knees into your chest. So let's put our right foot down onto the ground and lift our left leg up in the air. Wrap that strap around your foot and take a moment to just first start with some half happy baby poses on this side. You can hold the strap with one hand or two hand, just kind of getting the knee to drop down to the side of the ribs and then up. And then next we'll move the ankle around a fair amount. So wrap that strap snug around the heel and we'll point and we'll flex our toes and maybe a little point in there with your toes too if you like. Remember, a point is like being on a high heel where our toes are flexed but our foot is pointed.
And any kind of movement, that just kind of helps you wake up some fascia and some ligaments and some tendons and some muscles. All right, and then root into this and see what it feels like to just drop your hip down and lift your foot up. You can straighten your right leg if that's where you prefer to be. Finding breath. Let's take the strap into the left hand and have a little bit of mobility here. Opening your left leg out to the left and bringing it back up. And, remember that your core helps you with this, that we're not just loosey goosey and rolling around. And then go ahead and open the leg out to the side and ground here. Ground the whole right side of the body and enjoy, the feeling that's happening in your right hip as much as what's happening in your left inner thigh. Head is heavy, your breath is here. Are you noticing sensation? And lift that leg straight back up. We're going to take the strap over to the other side. Again, a little rocking as we cross the left leg over to the right and then bring it back and just kind of go into the range that feels nice. And then when you're ready to deepen and just stay, you find your sweet spot. Doesn't matter how far over that leg goes. Let your left hip move away from your shoulder, stretch through your foot, lengthen through your spine. Let your head rest. And bring that leg straight back up. Let's put 2 feet into the strap. Notice your tailbone, your pelvis, your spine. Have a moment of flexing and pointing your feet. So we're really waking up the backs of the calves a little bit here. And then slowly take the strap off. Keep your legs up there. Choose where you want your arms to be. They can be overhead or down at your sides or out or up or wherever you want. Stabilize your core. Root your rib cage down toward the ground. We're going to slowly lower your legs down to the ground. You can always bend your knees and bring them toward your chest at any moment that you need. Once you're down, we'll bring our feet onto the ground, knees bent, and we'll just do a little bit of twisting here, just opening up your sides. Drop your knees over to one side and then over to the other. We're going to get into some twisting today. Just notice the beginning of that here. And then we'll wake up our obliques just a little bit while we're still down here. Okay, so let's bring our arms out to the sides. Knees come up. You can have your knees right over your hips, or I prefer a little closer. And certainly, if you're going to bring your knees over far to the side, you want your knees closer to your chest than right over your hips. And you get to decide how much twisting you'd like to do. And maybe you want to turn your head in opposition of your knees. Maybe you want to bring your knees all the way to your elbow and turn your head all the way to the side. Maybe you'd rather have smaller movements and your back appreciates that. So just find your breath and find whatever rotation that your torso wants. Your core is doing the work here. Your obliques are your leaders. Keep breathing. What a marvelous thing that we can twist. And think about all the functional movement that you do through the day because you can turn your torso. Finding breath. All right, and then relax and put your feet down onto the ground. Pause here for a moment. Notice how alive your center body from, your hips to your chest are feeling. And let's stretch out to a star one more time, reaching into your limbs, knees into your chest, roll to your side, and come up onto your hands and your knees. All right, as we find all fours, just notice how your body feels as you arch your back. Enjoy a little belly stretch. And as you round your back, enjoy that back stretch. Spread your shoulder blades. And again, use the body as a tool for the mind. So notice presence. Where are you in your body? What's the sensation like? Be curious. If anything's uncomfortable, can you know the difference between alarms that are telling you make a change, this is not healthy for you, versus I'm just a little uncomfortable and having to work a little bit, and something that can just be trained to stay. Okay. All right, let's take our left leg straight back behind us, right arm out in front of you. Find that core stability again. Breathing deeply, engage your glutes and your hamstrings. Deep breath in as you exhale, underneath, draw in. Inhale, bring it out again. One more time, elbow and knee come under. Stabilize through your core. Reaching it on out. Bring your arm and leg out to the sides, toes down, thumb up. Even though your levers are far out away from your center, hug back in toward your navel. Back to the center line, place that hand and knee down onto the ground. Let's switch sides. Okay. Find your stability. Press your shin, look down, engage your core, activate your leg. Deep breath in. As you exhale, elbow and knee underneath. Lengthening. Exhale. Drawing under. Put that hand and knee down onto the ground and stretch back towards child's pose and feel that compression in your hips. Walk the arms out in front of you and find some length. Breathe well. Walk the hands over to one side so that you get that grounding through your hips. Breathing deeply. Come over to the other side and feel that reaching of the body. Enjoy the side body. Relax and melt the base of the skull. Coming back to center, up onto all fours again, and let's switch onto a sense of rocking our weight into our left hand and knee, and then rocking our weight into our right, and just feel that yielding presence. There's so many ways to perceive the body in space, and this sense of proprioception and interoception. When we give our nervous system a job, this can be a mind tool as well. All right, find the balance point and let's lift to a twist. Reach that arm up high, exhale, slide the arm under and just enjoy what the spine does when it's twisting. Notice the breath. And then inhale, reach that arm back up in the air, hand down onto the ground. Let's switch sides. Arm up, exhale, slide the arm under. Full breaths. Back up in the air. And comes down onto the ground, finding a dog pose. So as you lengthen up into your posture, enjoy your full body making space now. So there's a lengthening everywhere. So can you find the ground? Feel that yielding. Feel free to move around a little bit. Feel free to be still. What does your body want or need to have the full expression available in this pose? How's your breath? What do you love about this posture? What does it offer to you? Be curious and notice. Root into the index finger mounds. Don't forget to ground those inner hands as much as the outer. Light up the muscles along your spine a bit. Can you feel your shoulder blades? And then walk your feet forward and come to Uttanasana. Deep fold, bend your knees. Inhale for a halfway lift. Folding again. Push off your feet, rising on up. Bring the arms to the sky, feeling that extension and length. Reach upward. Open up through your heart. Let's cactus and feel the expansiveness of your chest. Exhale, ground in, forearms to touch. Rising up again, interlace your fingers except for your index fingers. Reach up and see what it feels like to have your ribs, tip your head back a little bit so you have room for your ears right behind your arms, and reach your ribs up off your hips and extend upward and maybe a little bit backward. And then relax that and fold forward. Come to Uttanasana. Relax your neck. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt your fold again. Step your left foot back. Right foot comes in front. Find your lunge. Okay, blocks if you like them underneath your hands. Feel that extension. And let's start to move. We can bend and straighten the front knee. Finding our way into that beautiful extension of our hip flexors and our hamstrings. Experience the rhythm of your breathing. So root your legs, ground, find your lunge. When you feel ready, rise up, arms coming to the sky. Feel that extension, open up again, see what that feels like to open the heart, to lift your ribs off your hips. And we'll twist open to the side and see what it feels like to not collapse and sink down into your hips. Ground your legs, but still rise up out of your hips. Drop the shoulders. Stretch into the arms. Okay, inhale, bring the arms back up in the air. Hands come down, back to a dog pose. Extending the spine again. Notice your body. Are you feeling warmer? Are you feeling in your body? Okay. Come forward into a plank. Holding that sense of strength. Okay. Shoulders away from the ears, shoulder blades on the back. Let's turn the navel to the left. Come back to center, navel to the right. Wake up those obliques again. Back to center, to the left. Are you breathing? Back to center, to the right. Back to center, push the ground away. Let's lower ourselves to the ground. Knees can come down first if you need. Couple of shoulder rolls. Inhale for a cobra pose, open chest. Exhale, melting back down. Let's repeat that one more time, feeling that full extension wherever your body goes today. Exhale. Put your hands under your head for a moment and just find yourself breathing. Notice how the back body moves with your breath. Let's come up onto all fours. Move your spine around. We're going to rock our hip all the way over to the right. Come back up. Rock the hip all the way over to the left. And then you can come into a dog pose. You can come right up to stand. You can come right up to bringing that left foot forward. Whatever feels good. We're all going to meet into a lunge on the left side. Hands on blocks or the ground if that feels better. Start to move here. Bending and straightening. You can lift your toes if you want. You can keep your toes grounded if that's better. Find your way into the movement of your spine. Enjoy your breath. Remember that breath is one of our greatest tools for presence of mind. Right, ground your legs, root, and rise up when you're ready. Bring the arms up overhead if it feels nice.
Finding that extension, reach your ribs off your hips. Can you ground your feet without sinking and falling? Twist open to the left, arms out to the sides or on your hips. Hug to the midline, press your feet into the ground, lift your crown. Breathing deeply. And then back to center, arms up, and then hands down. Walk your back foot forward. Come to Uttanasana. Feel that sense of symmetry. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt to fold again. We're gonna come into Vera-1. So bring your back foot down onto the ground. Right foot front, left foot back. Back heel is rooting this time. Maybe it was last time as well. For some people, crescent lunge is a little off balancing, so you can always have your heel down onto the ground. If you need more space, take your right foot out to the right more so that you're not on that tightrope. Find the groundedness of your legs. Lean forward, arms back behind you, palms facing the ground. Knit your ribs in. Heads of the arm bones lift up and back. Ground into both feet. Engage your core. Interlace your fingers. Come on up to Vera-1. And maybe your arms are out wide, or maybe you're leaning forward a little bit. So experiment with what gives you the capacity to rise up out of your hips best. Root into your feet. Ribs off your hips. Breathing well. Release forward again. Bring your arms back. And then bring your hands onto the blocks and hop up onto that right foot. Come up onto your toes. Lift your hip. Keep the hip lifted. Descend the heel without losing that lift of the right hip. Engage the fullness of your left leg. Deep breath in. As you exhale, squat down, one-legged squat. We're going to take a little bit of a twist here. Place your left hand onto the ground or onto a block and twist open. Use your core. And bring that hand back down, maybe onto the block. Straighten both your legs. And then place that foot down next to the other one. Pause. A halfway lift. Step back, right foot. The left foot is in front. Round your legs. Root both feet. So we're keeping that heel down. Start with your body low. Palms facing the ground, arms back next to your hips. Reach them. Hug your shoulder blades down on your ribs. Knit your floating ribs in. Push through your feet. And slowly rising up. Decide what you want to do with your arms. Maybe they're wide. Maybe they're on your hips. Maybe they're interlaced. So whatever your choices are, or whatever you're choosing to do, try to lift out of your pelvis. Ground through your feet, push, and reach up out of your hips. Find your breath. Release the hands back again. Stay low for a moment. Stretch into your fingertips. Engage your triceps. Core's here. And then hands come down onto the blocks. Lift up into half splits. When you come up onto your toes. And then descend the heel, but keep the hip. Lift, lift, lift the hip. Engage your core. Engage your glutes. Find your legs. A deep breath in. Exhale, Jiva squat. Tuck down in, engage your core. Hand can go on the ground or a block. Right hand down, left arm lifting up to a twist. Shoulders away from the ears. Find your breath. And exhale, straighten back into a half lift and place that foot down. Step all the way back to a dog pose. Feeling that extension again. Breathing well. And let's come down onto our knees. We're going to come into Vasisthasana with on your right hand, right knee. I have a perpendicular
Shin, you can do this parallel. You can also do this with both feet on the ground instead of a knee on the ground, okay? Now let me turn sideways so you can see better. So you choose your pathway in Vasisthasana. Shoulders away from the ears, chest broad, and we're gonna exhale and curl under. Inhale, bring it back up. And exhale, curl under. Inhale, bring it back up. One more time. So this is a challenging if you're both feet are on the ground, the balance is hard. So just notice and then relax. Let's do a child's pose in between. Shake out your wrists. Give yourself an opportunity to just let your back open up. Have a breath. Coming back up, we'll take the second side. So I have my hand, my knee, and my foot on the ground, but maybe you have 2 feet on the ground or 1 foot on the ground. Maybe your shin is parallel, maybe it's perpendicular. Kind of find your happy place. Shoulder blades down the back. Reach your right arm up in the air. Deep breath in, exhale, curl under. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale under. Push the ground away. Shoulder blades on the back. Hips are lengthening or lifting, I should say, instead of sinking. Relax back. This time we'll come into a dog pose. Extend through your spine. And then walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Let your back open up. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melting to fold. Maybe you want to block between your thighs for a chair. Maybe you don't. Whatever feels good, come into chair pose. Reaching your arms up overhead if you'd like. You can always keep your hands in a different position if you want. Drop into your weight of your heels. Relax the base of your skull. We'll twist here. Deep breath in. Exhale, turning to the right. Inhale back. Turning to the left. Inhale back. One more time each side. Exhale to the right. Inhale back. Exhale to the left. Coming back. Sink a little deeper, reach a little higher, soften your neck. And then up onto your toes if it feels nice. Bring your hands down and lower your feet down to the ground. All right, so just pause here for a moment. Let your shoulders relax. Find your breath. Slow, steady inhale. A full, complete exhale. When you're ready, take your right foot forward, left foot back. Okay. Parsvottanasana, hands on hips, open up through your chest, tip back a little bit, and then come forward, pause here so that you're holding yourself instead of letting your hands on blocks hold you. Root into your feet, engage your whole leg, really, both legs, your core strong, long spine. Just feeling that sense that your hamstrings are both extending and flexing at the same time. And then come all the way back up. This time, reach both arms up, lean back a little bit if it feels good, and we'll come all the way forward and bring our hands on blocks. So notice what kind of repositioning you need to do here. Roll the inner thighs back, feel the groundedness of your feet, and extend your spine. Can you square the hips? Are you grounded through that front foot? And then come all the way back up. And now we'll bring our right hand on our hip, just our left arm up in the air. Extend forward, pause for just a moment, engage your core, engage your legs, feel how supportive your legs are, and then all the way down. Then you can put 2 blocks, you can stack if you need a little stack for some extra height. Left hand is on the block. Reach your spine, twist when you're ready, using the obliques to open up. Drop the shoulders down your back, breathing well. How are the rootedness of your feet feeling? Do you need to move that right foot out to the right more for stability? Where are you? Exhale and relax. Turn all the way to the side of your mat, wide legs. Pasarita for a moment. Lower your head down. Finding breath. Feel the symmetry. And then we'll come to a deep squat here. So bend your knees, lift your chest up a little bit, elbows inside your knees, open up your inner groins, ground your feet. And inhale to a standing star, reaching the arms up high. And then we'll turn our legs back and come together so we can find the second side. We'll start with our left foot in front. Have some blocks handy. Hands on hips, open up through the front body. Feel a little stretch as you lengthen, and then tip forward. Only go as far as you can feel that your legs and core and glutes are supporting you. If you feel like your back is compromised in any way, come up a little higher. Spreading your bones of your feet so you can root them well. Extend the spine. Come all the way back up. Reaching now both arms up to the sky. Find that extension. And then we'll widen them out and bring our hands, both of them, down to the ground. Or onto the blocks, I should say. Square hips. Inner thighs rolling back. Organize your pelvis. This is a good place for you to sense into, if I were adding a twist into this, how would I organize myself? So feel the ground with your feet. Square hips. That left hip is reaching back. A little inner spiral of the sit bone or of the inner thighs so your sit bones can widen. Your spine stays free and spacious. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Now just our right arm will lift up, left hand on the hip, find that extension, reach forward, maybe a little pause here, feel maybe your hamstrings are getting a little fatigued. And then we'll come down onto 1 block, 2 blocks, whatever you need. Before you twist, find your legs, organize your pelvis, and then let yourself twist open into the posture. Shoulders away from the ears. Use your core and breath. Round through your legs, especially your feet. Move in your breath. Maybe your head's turned up. Maybe that's hard on your neck and you'd rather turn your head down even though the rest of your torso is going the other way. And let's release out of the pose. Hands down, dog pose. Extend. Full breaths. Let's come forward into a plank. Feeling that groundedness. Put your knees on the floor. Find the earth. Arms out in front of you or down at your sides, your choice. We're going to lift everything up. Symmetrical back bend. Find your body. Breathe. Exhale and relax. Come up onto all fours. Swivel around in your spine. And then take a moment in child's pose and just let your legs relax. We have one more standing pose to do. So let's just give our thighs, our hamstrings, our glutes a moment to just release. Come up to stand.
So you can go through a dog pose or just come up. This pose, if you want to do this with your foot against a wall, that can be a really nice way. I'll do that to just show you. It can be a really nice way of practicing. So if you come into half splits with your right foot on the ground and your left foot on a wall, this is a nice way of anchoring your body into the pose for a twist. Or if you don't want to, you can just have your left leg in the air. And again, I think these blocks are, when they're on high height, are quite wobbly. So I would recommend stacking 2 blocks on their flat sides so that you have a nice stable support and you're not going to fall on that block. We're going to keep our right foot on the ground, our left hand on the block, right hand on your hip. Organize the stability of your pelvis. Push into the wall, lengthen your spine, and maybe start twisting to the right. If you want to lift your right arm up in the air, you can. You can keep your right hand on your hip. Pay attention to your core. Use your core to do the twisting. Engage your glutes in the air. Shoulder blades down the back. This is a hard pose, so take it in chunks. You don't have to do the whole pose. And then relax to come out of there when you're ready. Come on up to stand and just notice, revolved Ardha Chandrasana. This is a Pavrita Ardha Chandrasana. I find this to be a very challenging pose. So the wall is a nice anchor point. If you haven't tried it with a wall before, I recommend it. It gives you some support so that you know where your pelvis, it closes the chain of your legs so that you have just a little bit more awareness of where you are in space. Okay, now we're going to stand on our left foot. Right hand on the blocks, right leg behind you on the wall, or maybe it's in the air, okay? So just kind of sense in to where you need to be in space. Organize yourself before you start twisting. Extend the spine, reach the hip back, square up the pelvis, lots of glutes. Use your core. You can keep your hand on your hip to twist, or you can lift your arm in the air. The core is what's doing it. The obliques, the transverse abdominis, the glutes are all working hard. Keep your shoulders away from the ears. Notice if you're uncomfortable and if you want to not be doing this. Notice our tendency to want to get out of what makes us uncomfortable. Come back to center. Put that foot on the ground. Melt into a forward fold. And let's come right down to a child's pose. Take your knees wide. Find your breath. Release your spine. Onto our back and grab a block. So we're going to do a bridge pose on a block. All right, so you get to decide how high you want the height to be underneath you, 1 block or 2 blocks. We're going to put the block underneath the sacrum, across the sacrum. We're just going to hang out here. So I'm going to experiment by starting with a low block and adding a second block in a moment. Maybe you want to start with a low and then tip up to a middle height or 2 blocks, or maybe you'd like to just stay in low the whole time. Sense into the symmetry of your pelvis. Move your way toward deeper breathing. And if you want to go a little higher, now's a good time to change what's underneath you. Remember, we're always having blocks across the pelvis, never in line with the spine. Does it feel good to open up in this way?
Breathe deeply. Going to come out of the tall height, or you can stay. You can really be whatever wherever you want to be. But we're gonna lift the knees up toward the chest. So kind of decide if we're doing a leg up the wall with a block. Where's comfy. Okay. So first, just take those knees in toward your chest. A little bit of traction for your spine. Enjoy this. After the twisting, we want to open up the lumbar spine a little bit and make sure it's spacious. And then we'll lift the legs straight up in the air. Finding breath. Feel the weight of your legs melting down. See if you can feel gravity. And roll the legs down to the ground. Lift up the block. And then decide, what you want to do. A happy baby pose might feel nice. You might want a rocking plow. You might want a reverse pigeon. You might want I don't know what you want. What do you want? Okay, so just kind of feel your way into just the last little whatever your body needs before Shavasana. Right, and then as you prepare for Shavasana, as always, make sure you're warm. It's cold out today, so make sure that you feel cozy, that you have warmth, that weird props aren't touching you. You're not distracted by your senses. Okay, so we want to have that bit of pratyahara kind of embedded within Shavasana. So let your skin be a neutral temperature. Let your eyes not have too much influence, so low lights. Close your eyes. Take any support that you need in your body. Shavasana is very important, and it's a place where sometimes we easily dive deep, and other times our minds just already are off to the next thing. So pay attention and do that grounding of the mind. Let it live in your breath and body. Give it a tool. Give it a sensation to pay attention to, the breath to pay attention to, the feeling of melting, whatever it is. Deepen. Feel your body. Extension and some reaching in your body. Find your way into any kind of movement that supports your transition. Move slowly. Take your time. As you come to your side and scoop your way up to a seat. There's no rush to get there, but once you get to your seat again, once you feel comfortable to sit up, just pause here for a moment. Relax your body. Find your way into your breath again. Together at your heart. And let's offer our energy that we create and let's share. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.